never faze me. They watch the steps that I be taking. That's why they say that I'm amazing. Been the top dog before the nonsense. I've always been a public figure. Now the frame didn't got too big, cause more people wanna get up in it.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm your host, John Madsen. This is the show. Welcome to 2023. Welcome to a new year. So I wanted to kick off this new year with this idea that how you do one thing is how you do everything. And one of the biggest things that I've learned over the past couple years, especially in my thought process, is that that is not true. And so this episode is going to be about balance and whether achieving balance is realistic, because this idea of how you do one thing is how you do everything is something to aspire to, but the actual doing of it is obviously not happening. And the reason I say that is because once a quarter, my wife and I go to Cabo, we go to the Montage at Laguna, we go to these fancy resorts. And when we're there, undoubtedly, the same scene plays over and over and over and over again. You got dudes who are well-to-do because they wouldn't be in those resorts in the first place. They have nice fancy watches, usually Rolexes. When they get to the pool and they take their shirt off, if they're even willing to take their shirt off, they have a mediocre at best body to go along with that success that they've worked so hard for. And so that right there can tell you without needing to know anything else. We're just talking about two domains here. We're not even talking about relationships. We're talking about money and health. Two things, two values that people have. And if you don't believe me, why is all of the New Year's resolutions mostly about those two things? I want to make more money. I want to be more fit. And you can see this on full display, especially in men. This is what a lot of people who come through our program, we've helped thousands of men who fit this picture that I'm painting for you very, very well. They've chased down wealth. They've chased down excellence in their businesses. They've put in the time, they've put in the dedication, they've put in the perseverance, they've put in the effort, they've learned how to be as efficient as possible in one area. And then the other area, which a lot of gurus and a lot of people are gonna talk about, this idea that how you do one thing is how you do everything. And then you look at their bodies and they haven't put in the effort, they haven't put in the know-how, they haven't put in the dedication, they haven't put in the perseverance, they haven't put in any of that, because when you look at their bodies, they are completely and utterly mediocre. Now, a lot of times it's not for lack of what they would call effort, meaning it would be rare for somebody that, at least in my world, it's rare that we get people into Superhuman that are completely and utterly unhealthy. There are people out there that are very good at business who've completely let their fitness go, but that's usually not our client. That might make up. If that's you right now and you haven't done anything about it, you should stop everything what you're doing right now and just, whether you work with us or work with somebody else, like, you have to get that shit figured out. But most of the time it's the people or the men who are attempting exercise at least 3 times a week. A lot of times these guys are doing it, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, even 7 times a week. These guys are technically, in their own eyes, watching what they eat, maybe following an intermittent fasting protocol, maybe they're doing keto, or maybe they're doing, who knows, maybe they wanted to cut out all meat and they wanted to go vegan. The purpose of me saying that is that these guys have fitness and health on their radar. They're already trying to blow off steam from work and actually go and do some exercise. Yet, if they were to really look in the mirror, if they were really to take a look at their reflection and to not just dismiss it, but to really look in that mirror as I'm looking into the camera, to really look and see for themselves and look into their own eyes and ask themselves if they look and represent excellence. I'm not talking mediocrity. I'm not talking you look a little bit better than your friends. I'm talking about asking yourself the big question: are you living up to your fullest potential in your body and in your health? And most people's answers, all you have to do is walk through the airport or go to one of these fancy resorts that I talked about. You go to these places and you know listening, if this is you, it's not excellence. It's not excellence for whatever reason. Maybe you are, once again, putting effort into it, but what the reflection is on the mirror is not excellence. And so if there's an unbalance in your results, if you are excellent in business but not in your body, what gives? Because a lot of the same traits would be the same traits necessary to succeed in both areas, but the real issue is that your body is not as a higher of a value value as your business, or you would have those same character traits that make you successful in one and they would carry over to the other one. But because business is more valuable to you in your unconscious mind, your priorities naturally go towards the thing that you're more excellent in. And so if you want to change that, and I would urge you to change it, because I believe that you can be excellent in your business. I believe that you can be excellent in your fitness. I believe you can have excellent relationships with your spouse. I believe you can have excellent friendships and a network. I believe that you can have an excellent environment. I do believe in the idea that excellence can be had across multiple domains. Now, one of the caveats here, where some of the other people out there might point out that it's not possible to have ultimate balance if you're trying to be the best in the world. They would point to people like Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods or some of the world's greatest athletes, Tom Brady, and they would point to the fact that they give their whole lives to being excellent in sport, and then some of the stuff in their personal life fall apart. And so people will take those extreme examples and then they will want to utilize that same thought process to dissuade you from believing that you can be excellent in all things at the same time. What I'm about to tell you might be first time you've ever heard of it said this way, and I want you to remember it for the rest of 2023. The way that I do fitness is not going to win me any medals on stage. It's not going to win me any bodybuilding medals. It's not going to win me any powerlifting medals. It's not going to win me any medals playing my sport on Sunday. And I'm guessing that you listening to this, whether you're male or female, are not trying to play football on Sundays anymore. You're not trying to win bodybuilding medals. You're not trying to win powerlifting medals. You're not trying to win the Ironman for your age group. What you're trying to do is represent excellence in your fitness and in your health. You want to look like you actually go to the gym because you're already putting effort in there. You want to have a performance in your capacity to do normal everyday tasks to excellence. You don't get tired walking up the staircase. You can play with your kids for hours and hours. You have an abundance of energy. So there's a performance aspect to it. And then ultimately, if you're anything like me, you want to be the youngest version of you possible for the chronological age that you are. Meaning, if I'm going to be 40 this year, then I want to be the youngest 40-year-old version of me possible. What does that mean? I can look to people that graduated high school the same year, 2001, as I do. I can look at kids in my same graduating class. And some kids that graduated in 2001, when I graduated in 2001, they're 40 years old, like I'm going to be 40 years old, and they look and act and perform like they're 60 years old. They look like complete dog shit. They have no capacity in their cardiovascular ability. They have no capacity in their strength or power, and their body looks old. And at a cellular level, it is actually way older than their chronological age of 40 years old. There's a thing called biological age that does not actually match how many years you've been on this earth. And so if you want to maximize this body piece for you in 2023, then it's multiple components of it. It's an aesthetic component, it's a performance component, and it's an anti-aging longevity component. And so if you're gonna be excellent across those domains, and you're gonna do fitness like me, knowing that you're not gonna win medals, or you don't give a shit about, joining a bodybuilding contest or any of that stuff, what you really want is to look into the mirror and to take your shirt off and to see the most excellent version of you possible without completely dedicating your life to something that takes up all your hours and makes you hate food and all the other stuff. And you look into your eyes and you say, damn it, man, I am proud of you. I love you. I love you for your effort. I love you for showing up. I love you for being consistent. I love your confidence. You've earned it. I respect you. That's what you're playing for. And you're not going to get it if you keep chasing business at the expense of your health, right? And so you can actually achieve that without dedicating your whole life to this fitness thing. So what I'm saying is excellence across all domains is possible. And I'm going to tell you like 4 things to think about in 2023 if you're chasing this. But if I already know, like, I'm not trying to be the best in the world at fitness, but I'm going to be the best me possible without dedicating my whole life and wasting hours and taking away from my family and restrictive dieting and all that other stuff. And I can still have a six pack, and I can still look in the mirror and do what I just told you. And I can go to these fancy hotels and go to, Laguna Beach and go to Cabo, and I can take my shirt off and have the Rolex at the same time and then have the six pack at the same time. There is an aspect of balance that is achieved by probably only the top 1%. And the same thing goes for business. My business has been on an incredible run the past 3 years. I don't have an Elon Musk type of business. My business isn't 9 figures, okay? We are in the millions, and we are headed towards a lot more millions. I'm not saying that that's excellent compared to Elon Musk, and I'm not winning any best in the world at business false medals. I have an amazing lifestyle. I can sit here on my couch wearing Dior shoes and designer jeans and go outside and drive a Lamborghini and a Porsche 911. I'm not saying that to impress you. I'm not saying that to flash on you. What I'm saying is I have an incredible lifestyle where we are accumulating the assets that most people chase for a long time, and I don't have to be the best in the world at that takes away from my fitness, that takes away from my ability to be present with my daughter and be present with my wife and ruin relationships and be stressed out. I'm not saying that making more is not a goal. What I'm saying is that if I go into it with this idea that excellence can be had across all domains, I'm also